to the Inherited Abode. I'm your host, Summer, and today we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to start with 2015. We're going to start with me just living my life. I was in graduate school. I was in healthcare, so I am doing clinicals. I am going in and out of the hospital, working 12-hour shifts for free, and I am also taking classes. I am across the country from my parents, as I should be. They're living their life. I'm living my life. And my parents are supposed to be going on a trip. My dad had a work trip, a conference. And I was just checking in to see if they left. I couldn't quite remember the date, where they were going to be staying, just being nosy. And I called my mom. And she said, "Oh no, we're not going. We're deciding not to go on the trip." That was odd because they loved any little free trip to go somewhere. So I thought that was odd, but I was like, okay. She might have, kind of in passing said my dad didn't feel good. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. If you got boomers as parents, pay attention to that. They are like raised to not bother you, to not alert you or scare you. Pay attention to that. When you hear that 2 or 3 times, you need to dig into that. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever, and I didn't talk to my dad. She didn't mention anything about me talking to my dad. So we just get off the phone and go on about my business. Right after the call, my dad texts me. He sends me a text, but it's gibberish, as if like he butt texts me, like just a bunch of letters that didn't make any sense. And I looked at it and I was like, that's weird. So I called my mom back and I said, hey, Dad just texted me. It makes no sense. What's going on? And she paused. And I was like, what's going on? So at this time, she lets me know that, a whole story, a whole entire story. She lets me know that my dad was at work. He seemed not like himself. His boss was talking to him and it just didn't seem right. And then my dad looked very confused while he was looking at his laptop. So he's at work. He's looking at his computer. He looks confused. His boss is standing in the door and like, He walks up to my dad's desk. So he walks in, he walks around to look at the computer. My dad is not looking at anything. So the boss is like really confused, but my dad is able to respond to him. This doesn't seem right. So some kind of way they got someone to follow them home. He drives my dad home in my dad's car, leaves him with my mom. He goes and he leaves. My mom kind of talks to him. He does seem a little bit unusual. They agree he should stay home. He says, okay. The next morning, my dad gets up anyway. He goes to work. But when he gets to work, he cannot park. He is backing up and he's going forward and he's backing up and he's going forward. And the people that are out there, the grounds people at his job are like, And they go in and they tell someone, hey, I think this guy's having problems outside. Lo and behold, it's my father. His boss takes him home again. At this point, my mother schedules a doctor's appointment, takes my dad to his primary care physician who says, he seems fine to me. If you want him to go see his neurologist is out for 2 weeks. So you have to wait 2 weeks to see him. This is the story that this lady tells me. Up until this point, I have no idea any of this has happened. And I was like, wait, what? I said, number one, you do not have to wait to see anybody. You can go see anybody anytime you want. My dad had this really great insurance. He did not need the primary care to make that referral. He could just go. The next thing was, you're his wife. I don't care what anyone else tells you. If you say something's wrong, something's wrong. And it was something wrong to the point of she didn't want to put him on the phone. Could he respond yes or no? Yes. He could string together a couple of sentences, but something was definitely wrong. My mom said, I'm just going to wait until the neurologist gets back because my father at 47 had a stroke. He had a major stroke. He was at home for a year. He made a full recovery, just lost a little bit of peripheral vision. So he had a neurologist. I told my mom, this is not something that can wait. Another tip that you need to keep in mind is that you need to have someone that is a healthcare worker that you trust, that you can run things by. The fact that I was currently in school in clinicals and I had seen so many patients over the past 2 years and I had been in so many situations and I'd actually just finished my neuro round, I knew this is something that you don't wait on. Had I not gone to grad school for this, I would have probably just done what my mom said. I would have probably yielded to her. She was still hesitant to take him. So I had to book a flight and go home. Luckily, I had a flight this was my last year of school, and I had a flight booked at the end of the summer to go home. So I just called, and reason I called is because I wanted to see if I could get a discount because it was some, family emergency, and got that flight moved to like in the next 2 days. So I fly home. I get there. I tell my mom, pack a bag because whatever we're doing, we're not leaving the hospital. We're going to get admitted. I see my father. I check him out. Definitely something's off. We get in the car. I drive because she's a ball of nerves. Okay. If you have the parents that I have, my dad takes care of everything. So when they go places and stuff, my dad drives. So she's a ball of nerves. I'm driving. We both have bags. We're like, okay, let's go. We get there. We go to the ER. I mean, I'm not doing urgent care at this point. This needs to be escalated. And they do kind of a couple of quick little assessments. It's not working. One of the questions was, remember, this is 2015, who is the president of the United States? So at that time, it's Barack Obama. Everyone knows it's the first African-American president of the United States, whether you voted for him or not. My father says, you know who's the president. That didn't answer the question. So I said, Dad, who is Barack Obama? And he goes, the president. So he could answer it one way, but he couldn't answer it the other way. Okay, red flag. So it's the weekend. And as you know, if you work in healthcare, you know, like the main people aren't there on the weekend. You got your backup crew on the weekend. And I told my mom, I said, hey, the main people we would talk to, they're not here this weekend. That's why I know we're going to get admitted because we're not seeing anybody till Monday. So he gets admitted. We stay. We spend the night. Monday comes, and then all the people are back, right? And they're starting to run the exams. They're starting to do differential diagnosis, which means they try to think of the things that could cause what we're seeing. And what we're seeing is someone who's alert to their name. They're not alert to where they are and what year it is, because we also asked him what year it was, and I think he told us 2013. He did not tell us the correct year. Now I'm starting to run through the things in my head, and I know this is not about to be good. After we do test after test, after we rule out everything else, they come back in. They say it's dementia. It's not Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's has like a sort of presentation of plaques on the brain. My dad didn't have that. This was basically the type of dementia from having chronic high blood pressure, needing to sleep with a CPAP machine and not sleeping with the CPAP machine. So you're depriving your brain of oxygen, not being active and mobile. And so over the years since his stroke, he had been starving his brain of oxygen. He was not getting a good night's sleep because he wasn't using his CPAP. So every time he would fall asleep, he would stop breathing. His body would wake him up, and then he would just repeat the cycle. So he never was consistently asleep. And this has taken a toll on his body, specifically his brain. We now know he cannot continue to work. We now know he is not able to drive himself anymore. So I went from being in grad school, minding my business, living my life, to within 2 days knowing my father needs a caregiver, a full-time caregiver. They were explaining the extreme, outcome. My mom is in denial. She's like, what are you talking about? He's fine. He got up. He got dressed himself. He brushed his teeth. He washed his face. He walked to the car. What are y'all talking about? And I have to do the hard work of breaking down for her. That's how Dad is today. That's not how he's always going to be. We're going to have to find someone to come in, if you're going to go back to work, to sit with Dad. He cannot stay home by himself. So at this time, we do some hard talking and a lot of praying. I have to go back. I have to finish my program. What I didn't tell my parents is that I was pregnant. So when I say life comes at you hard, life comes at you hard. Very, very hard. So I'm going back we're trying to figure out how to do this without really letting people know what's going on, because we're just adjusting to it. And ultimately, I graduate in May. My parents don't come to my graduation. My mom does not feel comfortable putting my father on a flight, being in charge of him. Even though I'm telling her if she can just get on the plane, I will meet them at the airport. I will take care of everything. She's like, no. Because again, she didn't drive to the airport. She didn't drive like that. And then having to have all the suitcases and take care of him. She just couldn't do it. If you know that one of your parents is stronger than the other mentally, you know that one usually takes care of the bills and the other doesn't, we need to have a plan in place. You need to have a plan in place. We did not have one. So my friends came and supported me at graduation. This probably took place in March of 2015. So by May of 2015, I'm home. I'm home for a month. I've walked across the stage, but I still need to finish my research, and I finished it by August. So I'm at home. I need to finish research, but I need to kind of get things in place here. Because at this point, it's been 2 months. My dad has deteriorated rapidly in 2 months. We find and search and look. We go through a couple of home healthcare companies, all failures. They're willing to sit with your loved one. A lot of them are not equipped to help them toilet, to be as attentive as to feed them, as to take 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours to get your loved one to take their medicine. No, they're not equipped for that. And after 2 failed companies, we find an individual in the community who has been doing this her whole life. She was a military wife, and so everywhere they got stationed, she would take care of aging people. We were blessed by God to find her. And so she started coming 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. So she would cover the time when my mom was at work. My mother would come home, and she would take over from the evening to the next morning. And that was my mom's life. That was our life for 4 years. For 4 years, my mother would do the weekends all by herself. On occasion, we would get help. I would come in town when I could, because again, I got a lot going on myself. But in that month that I was home, May to June-ish, I am digging in all the documents, trying to find how my dad paid the bills. Did he get them through his email? Did they get them in the mail? Because between March and May, I asked my mom, so you've been paying the bills, right? And I said, you've been paying an electricity bill. For some reason, I asked her that particular bill, and she said, well, I haven't seen a bill. Ma'am, they don't just keep lights on out of just fun. You have to pay the bill. The bills were going into my dad's email account, and he was paying them electronically. Did she have the login and password to his email account? No. Did I have it? No. So we had to do a lot of things to now make them paper bills. 1, just so we wouldn't miss them. We would get them every month. 2, so that she could start to pay them. So we had to sit down and figure out what are all the bills that need to be paid. She paid like 2 or 3. My dad paid the rest. So we had to make sure she knew them all. We had to figure out when were the property taxes due, when was the insurance on the home, who's going to cut the grass. We literally had to sit down and map all of this out. I had to create a filing system for her to put everything in there, a filing system that I could follow and that she could follow. We started looking for his life insurance policy. She was not completely sure that he had one, but she felt like he did have one. She didn't know if she had one. My dad had a life insurance policy that covered both of them, but if he died first, she would not have coverage. I never even heard of something like this. So this spawned me having to get life insurance on her as well. I found like one receipt or one bill from years ago for his life insurance policy. I had to track the company down. I had to find a 1-800 number to talk to the person. He couldn't talk to me. I'm not on the policy. To talk to my mom, to give us permission. And he still said, I need a power of attorney. Yes, if the person is still alive, but they cannot take care of their self, they cannot take care of their affairs, you need legal authority to do so, even if you're married, even if you are their child. So we had to rush, get power of attorney because we did not have that, so that my mother could talk to the life insurance policy people, so that she could talk to all the other people that were trying to get things switched over and make sure her name's on it. It was quite an undertaking for someone who was several months pregnant. So in the midst of this very sad news, I had to sit my parents down, my father who's losing his memory by the day, and inform them that their first grandchild is on the way. Yeah, that's where I'm going to stop the story for today. And we will pick up with all the things I learned in that moment and how did we move forward from there. If you are enjoying it, subscribe. I'm going to drop them every week until I get through the story. We got 2 years to cover. Hopefully I can cover them in less than 30 episodes. Till next time.